Uchista Bhajino Dasas
Avumayam Jayamahi
Avamayamaya Pradehi
Tayo Bhagutta Staraganda
Tayo Bhagutta Sarganda
Asulankara Chachita
Asulankara Chachita
Uchista Bhajino Dasas
Uchista Bhajino Dasas
Avamayam Jayamahi
Avamayam Jayamahi.
Ladies. Tayo Bhagutta Sarganda
Tayo Bhagutta Sarganda
Asulankara Chachita
Asulankara Chachita
Uchista Bhajino Dasas
Uchista Bhajino Dasas
Avamayam Jayamahi
Avamayam Jayamahi. Tayo Bhagutta Sarganda Asulankara Chachita Uchista Bhajino Dasas Avamayam Jayamahi.
Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes, and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. Purport. It is clear from this verse that Uddhava is not approaching the Lord for liberation from the illusory energy. As a personal, confidential associate of Lord Krishna, Uddhava was undoubtedly a completely liberated soul. He was praying to the Lord because he cannot bear the thought of living without Krishna even for a moment. This feeling is called love of God. Uddhava is addressing the Lord as follows. Even if your illusory energy tries to attack us, my Lord, we will very easily conquer her by our powerful weapons, which are the remnants of your foodstuff, clothes and ornaments, and so on. In other words, we will easily conquer over Maya by Krishna Prasadam, and not by useless speculation and mental concoction. Please repeat. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes, and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Again with some enthusiasm.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Panchatapaturvyasa
Vivasindhavevascha Patitanam Pavanyo Vaishnaveyo Namo Namah.
So we are the most fortunate persons in this universe of Atlanta, Georgia, or maybe even the entire state of Georgia, perhaps even in the entire United States, like even the 7 continents and beyond. Because for the last 3 days, we have been honoring the Lord in various wonderful ways. And in doing so, we have enjoyed, not for our own sense gratification, but we have enjoyed the remnants of the Lord's enjoyments. and this is called prasadam. So that it's described in this verse 5 types of prasadam, and that is the garlands, which the Lord has worn, the fragrant oils. We offer on a little swab of cotton on a stick, we offer this oil to the Lord, and then someone comes around and rubs it on our hand. And if we're lucky and it's good quality oil and the Lord has enjoyed it, then we'll also remember, by smelling this, we'll remember the Lord. Just like the Kumaras were very ecstatic to smell the tulsi on the lotus feet of the Lord. The remnants that the Lord has enjoyed become relishable for the devotee. So then the clothing, so of course maybe we're not going to put on an outfit in its entirety, because maybe we might start thinking, I'm, Krishna, I'm Nishringa, I'm Lord Chaitanya, I'm Radharani. But we take some remnants of that clothing and you tie it around your wrist, or you wear it around your neck, you may wear it around your head. In this way, feeling closeness to the Lord. And the ornaments. So sometimes we get some Mahaprasadam jewelry. We wear that. It's very nice. Mahaprasadam, maybe sacred thread. Krishna, our Nityananda, Lord Puranga. And then the most enjoyable for most devotees is the Mahaprasad, or the remnants of the meals that the Lord has partaken of. So quite often that's the most ecstatic part of the Bhagavatam class, is when it ends and then we can rush over to the prasadam room, Mahaprasadi Govinde, Namo Brahmani Vaishnave. And of course today is a very special Ekadashi, Nirjala Ekadashi. So if you're able to follow the Nirjala Ekadashi, that means we'll honor prasad by respectful obeisances, and we'll see how far we can get by abstaining completely from all foods, not just the grains and the beans and etc., but abstaining fully from all forms of prasad, including and even jal, water. So if you're a pujari, the instruction is very clear. Of course you have to do achana, no problem, but you just use a drop. It's described as much as can cover a mustard seed. That is the amount you can take. And there's various opinions about honoring the Charnamrita, but if you choose to do so, it's the same principle, just a drop. It's said that if you take any more than that, it is the same as drinking wine. So maybe for some people that'll sound like a good alternative, but for the devotees, we're trying to please the Lord. We're trying to purify our wretched selves. So we want to do whatever small thing we can do to put ourselves in the most favorable position to please Lord Krishna. And certainly honoring prasadam is one of those things that you can do that's not so difficult. And Ekadashi really is not a burden. Somehow, sometimes I'll hear devotees say, oh my God, it's Ekadashi. And it's the same words, but oh my God, it's Ekadashi. I have an opportunity to make some spiritual advancement today, more than any other day. In such a simple way. I just don't have to eat any grains. I don't have to eat any pulse or any beans or any rice. What an easy way to make spiritual advancement. Of course, in avoiding new things, you must also chant. Chant minimum, as we were here yesterday, minimum 16 rounds. I don't know how many heard the wonderful discourse given by Vitakta Goswami, His Holiness Vitakta Goswami, prior to the initiation ceremony, but it was really wonderful, covered the full spectrum of chanting without offense, and what are some of the offenses and what are some of the impetuses for chanting. Very wonderful discourse. So we must not fast ever from chanting. That is one fast we must very scrupulously avoid. And so the idea is on Iskcon that we are saving some time that's required normally for digestion. You know, you eat some grains, it takes more to digest the grains than if you're taking some light fruits or some liquids. So that saves some time. And that time that's being saved can be offered back to Krishna through chanting his holy names, increasing your chanting. In other words, the minimum is done. Now let us go a few steps more. And what to speak on Nirjala Ekadashi when we don't have to worry about at all our prasadam. You know, sometimes they have to even worry about what there is going to be for prasadam because, you know, maybe our little old bodies are not going to be able to digest everything, and so, you know, what should be an ecstatic occasion honoring prasadam becomes a point of anxiety because maybe I won't be able to honor it because my body will not tolerate it. But I have none of those worries today. Just chant Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
So this part of the Srimad Bhagavatam is known as the Uddhava Gita. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, the verses, and there's very deep discourses in the Gita from Lord Krishna to his dearmost friend Uddhava. Uddhava even had similar bodily features to Lord Krishna. And Krishna took him into his confidence in many intimate situations. He sent him to Mathura, from Mathura to Vrindavan, when the devotees there were in such deep state of lamentation that they had practically lost their lives. They were without any bodily luster. The only thing that was keeping them alive was remembering Krishna. And Krishna understood how they were feeling. And actually, it was a whole transcendental pastime because Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So why were they feeling like this? There was a transcendental trickery going on. He was there in Vrindavan. He was there, residing in their hearts. But by the visual absence, they were experiencing deeper and deeper relationship with Krishna, a deeper and deeper ras, a deeper and deeper flavor. And in his so-called absence, they were lamenting in such great sorrow. Please come back. We just want to see your beautiful face, your smiling eyes, your dark curly hair, your yellow shawl, your blue dhoti. We want to hear your flute again. We want to see you chasing the cows. We want to be chasing the cows with you. We want to be sitting under the trees of the Yamuna, taking prasadam with you. We want you to put your heads in our lap again. We want to massage your feet. Your mother Yasoda was just in such a severe state. Who was feeding my son? Who was feeding them? What was he eating over there? And the gopis were wondering, has he forgot us cowherd girls? Has he forgot the village girls? Now that he's in the company of these beautiful society women in Dwarka, has he forgotten us? Does he even remember us at all? So such deep lamentation was going on. And Krishna called for Uddhava. And he said, he sent him over with some certain messages. Now, that was for the residents. Sending Uddhava was pacification for the residents of Vrindavan. But it was also a special mercy, a special favor for Uddhava. Uddhava was not a devotee with any faults. He had no faults. He was free from faults. But still, Krishna wanted him to experience a higher taste of love of God. So he sent Uddhava to Vrindavan to observe how the residents of Vrindavan loved him so much. And in this way, he could also increase his own loving propensity towards Lord Krishna. So this is the wonderful reciprocation of the Lord. When he sees the devotee making some effort towards him. And in the same way, we can also increase our affection for the Lord by honoring his prasad, wearing the remnants of clothing, of garments, smelling the incense that's offered to him, smelling the fragrant oil, wearing some of the ornaments, and most of all, the glories of prasadam, remnants of food that have been offered to him, and thus become sanctified and purified. And the conclusion is that this will keep, in these ways, these ingredients, this Mahaprasad from the Lord, will conquer over the effect illusory energy has on the conditioned soul. And actually, it's stated that this prasadam, these remnants of the Lord, they are actually powerful weapons. We think of powerful weapons in terms of what we're kind of familiar with nowadays, which are pretty powerful weapons, chemical weapons and nuclear weapons and all kinds of horrible other weapons. But here was a powerful weapon, described as a powerful weapon, just like it was mentioned yesterday, how Srila Prabhupada called gulab jamans, Iskcon's bullets. They would explode in our mouth with an incredible taste, and you'd have some, wow, energy and appreciation. This Hare Krishna is something else, So, these powerful weapons are the remnants of your foodstuffs, clothes, ornaments, and so on. And therefore, we will very easily conquer over Maya by Krishna prasadam, and not by useless speculation, mental concoction, or sense gratification. So I wanted to give some different discussions on the topic of prasadam. But I'm also going to include some very nectarian information about Lord Jagannath. Because just because the festival of Lord Jagannath ended on Saturday and now panihati's all over, no, these things are going on transcendentally. Eternally. It's an eternal festival. For us, it was, maybe appears to have ended, but no, after it's going on, panihati's going on, because these are eternal pastimes of the Lord and his associates. So we have the wonderful occasion to greet the Lord on Friday as he came out of his seclusion and was brought back to the altar. And then on Saturday, he was brought to his wonderful Rath cart. And the Rath cart itself is worth noting because the Rath cart is actually part of the Lord's pastimes and part of his paraphernalia. So anything associated with the Lord is actually non-different from the Lord, and therefore worthy of worship and our attention. So Srila Prabhupada in 1969 wrote a letter to Jamuna regarding the Rath cart. She had inquired about decorating the Rath cart, and we were in England at that time. So he wrote, "You have inquired about the Rath cart." He said, "The crimson color with silver decorations is quite all right, but there is no strict regulation about decorating the cars. We can and this I thought was a very sweet way of describing it. He says, we can decorate the cars very fascinatingly with gold, silver, and other shiny metallic embroidery works as far as possible. The idea is, the more we decorate Krishna, who is non-different from his cart, so the cart and Krishna are non-different, also the more we become decorated indirectly." So he's mentioning here shiny embroidery, metallic embroidery. I can remember when we got the first really shiny, blinging outfit for our deities. It was during a Pandal program, in Delhi, and the deities that are now at the manor, Radha Gokulananda, were residing over this program. And up until this moment, we had always sewn the outfits ourselves. And coming from our kind of conservatives, whether it was Christian or Jewish background, it was conservative conception of religiosity and things associated with religion. And so we kind of knew to use some trim, certain gold trim or silver trim. But this outfit came covered with sequins. It was really blingy. We didn't have that word in those days, but it really was. And that was the first thing, really cool. And then there was these effulgences. And that was the first time we called them suryas. It was the first time we'd had the effulgences on the deities. So Prabhupada came, and we weren't, sometimes when we make a new outfit that was something, different from what had been already established, we weren't kind of sure would the devotees like it, would Krishna even like it. We felt, those of us who were working, felt yes, Krishna would like it, but would the devotees like it, would Prabhupada like it? Prabhupada loved this outfit. And, why the devotees hesitated to some degree was like, sequins were something that seemed like maybe, you'd see them now you see them everywhere, but especially in those days, they're kind of like some sort of cheap thing you might, I'll speak really frankly, think of somebody like a stripper would wear sequins, the idea of sequins on God was kind of a stretch. But we could tell that he liked this shiny representation. And Leela, I can't think of her last name, in London, she was one of the head pujaris for many years, Leela Shakti. She remembered how Srila Prabhupada really liked shiny outfits. And in an attempt, understanding if Prabhupada likes something, then Krishna must also like the same thing. So I was wondering why the clock hand didn't move, it was always in the same. And I'm thinking, I must be in a time warp because I'm speaking, it seems like it's gone on for a while and the hand hasn't moved. But I just realized that clock is in a time warp. It's stuck at 6:10. Anyway, and since there's no breakfast, we have to take a little extra time.
Yeah.
So, or else we can all go back on the time warp and lose between 6:10 in the morning and we're all early. But anyway, so she noticed that he liked these shiny outfits, and their pujaris arranged for a very shiny outfit using what we call lame. If you know materials, lame is shiny. Silver lame, gold lame, you can get pink, blue, and different colors, but it's very shiny. Made this outfit, and the devotees had a mixed review. Quite a few just didn't like it, too shiny. And Prabhupada hadn't seen it yet, he was coming, and so, like when it's a holiday or a special day, special occasion, what to speak of when Prabhupada's coming, you pulled out the best, your best outfits, and your best anything. And the pujaris wanted to put that outfit on, and quite a few people, including the temple president, said, no, you can't put that outfit on. But they did a switch. They agreed with him, but they did a switch and they put it on anyway. And when the curtains opened up, there were some people with shock, wow, they put that on. And there was Prabhupada, and he loved it. So from that I took away something, because Prabhupada was seeing everything in the spiritual world. We're thinking, here we are, here's our altar. It's like, we're not even realizing we're in the spiritual world here, what to speak of them over there. We're all together in the spiritual world here. So Prabhupada was seeing through transcendental vision. Just like you have to see, when Arjuna wanted to see Krishna in his particular grandiose form, Krishna said, all right, but I have to give you transcendental vision. I have to give you special vision. So for us, that special vision is a purification that comes from practicing Krishna consciousness, chanting Hare Krishna, following the principles, and always remaining in thoughts of Lord Krishna, offering everything to Krishna with love and devotion. And then it's explained by through your offenseless chanting, through pure chanting, the Lord's pastimes will automatically manifest in front of you. You don't have to make an endeavor to have separate thoughts. Oh, today while I'm chanting, I'm going to think of Govardhan Hill and Krishna, or I will think of Krishna here or there, or Lordji. That's actually an imposition on the chanting. But if while you're chanting these thoughts come, then that is actually a key that you're entering into the spiritual world, that you've arrived. See? I asked that one time to Srila Prabhupada, what should I think about when I chant? And he said, think, no think, hear. You know. So that was an instruction on the car, that the more we decorate the Krishna, who is not different from this car, the more we become decorated. So then again about Lord Jagannath, of course, in his letter, he explained that Jagat means universe, Nath means the Lord, so Jagannath, Lord of the universe. And he said, particularly like where Lord Jagannath Swami comes from Puri, and Puri Prabhupada said 90% of the population are fish eaters, and still Lord Jagannath accepts their service, or accepts their sentiments anyway. But in Kali Yuga, people are not clean, and therefore service to Jagannath Swami is preferred. Service to Lakshmi Narayan and Radha Krishna require highly elevated position. Means quite pure, quite advanced. But still, whether we serve Jagannath or Radha Krishna, the effect is the same. By facilitating the worship of the Lord in the form of Jagannath is more congenial than others. When anything is offered to Jagannath, it does not mean that it is not taken by Krishna. In the temple, although we offered to Jagannath, and at that point, in August of '68, the only deities we had at this point in time were Jagannath deities. London, in August of '68 we had, because we're leaving, but the Jagannath Swami was in San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, those were there, and up in Montreal. So these are the deities that were being worshipped in Iskcon. He said, when anything is offered to Jagannath, it does not mean that it is not taken by Krishna. In the temple, although we offer to Jagannath, it is also accepted by Krishna. Rest assured of this fact. So this was, a very instructive detail that we should be aware of in our service. Regarding dressing Lord Jagannath, he said that he should, and the dress and the worship, it should always be done with awe and reverence. And he said, the more you make the deity of Jagannath attractively dressed, the more you shall become spiritually attractive. And then he mentioned that, yes, please decorate Lord Jagannath with very attractive, nice clothing and ornaments. Helmets is the word he'd use for crowns. And I notice nowadays that there's very less use of crowns for all deities, but Prabhupada said, yes, it's all right to have the turbans on, and he preferred the helmets and crowns. And I rarely see them nowadays. If you look on any deity, if you look back at the older pictures during Prabhupada's manifested time, you will very rarely see a turban. You saw beautiful crowns. And if you observe the deities of the Goswamis, practically 99%, they will all be wearing crowns. So it'd be nice if we can revive, the turbans are wonderful, so I'm not saying let's ban the turbans, but, we should include the helmets, the crowns. So decorate Jagannath with very attractive, nice clothing, ornaments, helmets, as brightly and as magnificent as possible. And then it said there should be sufficient flower garlands for them daily also. So the decoration of Lord Jagannath should be so attractive that when people see Lord Jagannath, they will forget all about the attractiveness of Maya. Then that will be successful. So actually the process of decorating Lord Jagannath is our eyes are attracted, in our conditioned state, our eyes are attracted by the beauty of Maya. But if our eyes are attracted by the beauty of Lord Jagannath, Krishna, then there's no more chance of being attracted by Maya. So in other words, when seeing Jagannath nicely decorated, we become freed from the clutches of Maya. So these are some nice instructions to keep in mind regarding Lord Jagannath. So this is a beautiful issue of the Sri Krishna Kathamrita, which is produced by the Gaur Govindam devotees and disciples in Bhubaneswar. And it's an online, you can get it online. But this issue is called Mahaprasad Mahatmya. So it's all about Mahaprasad and Prasadam. And it's just actually really an ecstatic, the glories, Mahatmya means the glories of Mahaprasad. It's really an ecstatic issue. As I say, you can look it up online, but if you go to Mayapur, sometimes they have a table out there, and you can find the back issues. They also have this issue about the hidden identity of Lord Jagannath, and it has so much nectar in there about the worship of Lord Jagannath. It's just really incredible, and it really increases the appreciation, because sometimes we're doing things and we actually don't know completely the story behind it, And so a lot of that information is there. So Srila Prabhupada, he spoke frequently about prasadam. He said that everyone should take prasad, even outsiders who go to Jagannath. Here he is speaking specifically about Jagannath prasad. Even outsiders who go to Jagannath Puri, they don't cook. They purchase prasad, Jagannath prasad. And since 1,000 pilgrims show up, no problem, immediately they'll get prasad from the market. So then he told us in San Francisco when we installed the Lord Jagannath that we must always have prasadam ready. If anybody comes to the temple, no one should leave without prasad. Now there's two concepts here. And most people coming from India are quote-unquote Hindu background. They will just want just something. Even if you give them some maha water or the chanamrit, they just want a little prasad because they understand the value of prasadam. That's why all the temples are just the little sugar candies, in India, little prasad. It's something, piece of fruit. One time in London, when the Radha Londoneshwar were installed, so the installation wasn't completed, but it was almost over, and the family had attended these ceremonies, but suddenly they were preparing to leave, and they were going out the door, and Prabhupada said, "Oh, wait, you cannot go without prasadam." And he turned to bring them prasad. The devotee goes, "Well, we don't have any, we haven't offered it yet." Prabhupada said, "Prepare prasad," cut up some fruit, So he went down the stairs and cut up some fruit, brought it up, and puts it on the altar, and he starts to do, ring the bell and say the whole litany. And Prabhupada said, "Okay, now distribute." But Prabhupada, it's not offered yet. Prabhupada looked and he said, "Factually, as soon as it touches the altar, it's offered." Now, that doesn't give you the license. We can understand the ringing of the bell and the chanting of the mantras. That is for our purification. And for us to understand, my dear Lord, please accept this, offering from us. What is Krishna really being offered when we make an offering? Is it rice, dal, and chapati and gulab jamun? No, he wants our affection and our love. He wants our devotion. That is the only thing he requests. So that should start even before the plate gets to the altar. Prabhupada said, even when you go to the market to purchase, you should be thinking about Krishna. Well, is this a good food for Krishna? Is this good quality for Krishna? So, every step of the way is in memory of Krishna. This is being done for Krishna. So this family was thinking, wait, and then he says, so give it to, well, Prabhupada is not offered. He tells them, actually, as soon as it touches the altar, it's offered. But he said it in such a way, it let us know how much we didn't really know. And then they brought, there was just some cut up fruit. And then he passed it to them personally, had it passed. And then he instructed us, no one should ever leave our temple without prasad. It's always something, And then, of course, among the devotees, it sort of was like prasadam meant a big heaping plate, full of everything, just huge plate. And Prabhupada even mentioned this in a letter. He said, prasad in the Western countries means a full meal. And he was telling how he used to, he says, I was alone and still I was cooking for at least a dozen men, and I distributed full meals. That was in the early days before we had 26th Avenue. So that is a very integral part of our Krishna conscious lifestyle and habits. That prasadam must be there and it must be distributed. So, Rath Yatra festival, in addition for taking the Lord out so he can view his devotees and give an opportunity to the non-devotees to view him, is an opportunity for prasad distribution. So we have to therefore be very careful that whatever is being distributed at our festivals is offered first to Krishna, so that indeed it's prasadam and not just bhoga, not just food. I'll mention something about that in a moment, about the difference qualitatively. So Prabhupada said that prasad should be taken with faith, that it's not material. It can never be materially affected. And it's called prasad seva, not prasad enjoyment. Seva means giving service. Prasad is as good as Krishna, therefore prasad should be respected, as good as Krishna. So as soon as one gets prasad, one should immediately touch it to the head, because it is Krishna, it is absolute. And in this way we have to be trained up as it's prescribed in Shastra. So then he also was telling, this is all from a lecture in Denver in 1975, 1st of July. So that those who are attached to the Krishna consciousness movement should take prasad. Then he qualifies first-class prasad. Everyone likes the taste of prasad. In my household life, now he's telling something personal. In my household life, I used to go to various temples where I would pay so that I could take prasad. In other words, he gave a donation. Especially in Sri Ampur, there are two temples, one of Jagannatha and one of Radhaballabha, that had very nice prasad. On Sundays, I used to go there to take prasad. So this taking of prasad, this honoring of prasad seva, it's actually a sacred activity. So then he said, as far as possible, we should be habituated to taking prasad. Then we will remember Krishna, and that will keep us fit and immune from all infections and material conditioning. So, then in the purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 7th canto, in the 15th chapter, in verse 11, in the purport he's saying that anyone, whether a grihastha or a sannyas, can keep small deities of the Lord suitably packed or, if possible, installed, and then worship these deities by preparing food offered in ghee, and then offering a sanctified prasadam to the forefathers, the demigods, and other living entities as a matter of daily work. So we think, all the things we have to do every day, and we don't think about this is part, prasadam is part of, this is part of our daily, or should be part of our daily life. He said, all the centers of our Krishna consciousness movement have deity worship programs going very nicely, in which food is offered to the deity and distributed to the first-class Brahmins and Vaishnavas, and even to the people in general. And this performance of sacrifice brings complete satisfaction. Now we take this, honor this prasad to our full satisfaction. And the members of the Krishna consciousness movement engage daily in such transcendental activities. So the prasadam is, anything associated with prasadam is always uplifting, spiritually uplifting, because it's transcendental. And then he, in a letter to one person, he's describing how what I mentioned before, how the Western countries prasadam needs a big full plate, how he was cooking. And then he talks about Lord Chaitanya's activities when he was in Puri. So he said his only occupation was holding Sankirtan for these 4 hours a day and distributing prasad to the devotees. So these are the activities of Lord Chaitanya, distributing, holding Harinam Sankirtan and distributing prasad. And so then he comments how Lord Chaitanya would distribute so much prasadam that it would be enough to be eaten by 2 or 3 people. And you know how it said, like, Lord Chaitanya would encourage to eat up to your neck, you know. So again, about the importance of prasad. And then another aspect of prasad was mentioned in a lecture in Calcutta in 1973. He mentions how even until that time, the regulation is anyone can come and take Jagannath prasad, and they can come together. Like in certain situations, particularly in India, if you're a bungi or the street sweeper or a low-caste tailor or carpenter or something like that, there's a special place for you. But for taking prasadam and puri, everyone sits down together. And it says, even a dog can come. Normally, get away, but even a dog can come for prasadam. And even, it's said, if a dog looks at, just to be glanced by dogs, it can't contaminate it, but nothing can contaminate Mahaprasad. And then he was remembering in 1976, in November, he was remembering that he went to Puri in 1958 for a special function. She said, at that time, I was very sumptuously taking Lord Jagannath Prasadam. And then he's bringing to that time again. He goes, I am praying to Lord Jagannath to bring me there again to honor the remnants of his food. And then he gave an instruction on Ekadashi. It was in a conversation in Japan in 1972. The devotee asked, can we offer grains to the deities on Ekadashi? And Prabhupada replied, yes, but not to the Guru. Ekadashi is observed by Jiva Tattva, not by Vishnu Tattva. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should also not be offered grains because he's playing the part of a devotee. But so only Radha Krishna and Jagannath can be offered grains. Guru and Radha, no. Then he talked about the system. It's in Jagannath temple, the prasad's offered 56 times a day. And actually, I found out through the information in this book, it used to be much more than that. There was almost double that amount of offerings. So just like Prabhupada had to reduce to the amount of rounds that we chanted in order that we would, the number needed to be there, that was established by Mahaprabhu, but there had to be a bottom line number, and for us that was at least 16 rounds. So they were doing these, immense 100 and something offerings, and wasn't able to maintain. So anyway, now there's still 56 offerings a day, and they can anytime supply prasadam at any time, and probably the arrangement like that for prasadam distribution has been going on for the last 2,000 years. And he explained to us how that should be done. He said that you always keep on hand 2 or 3 cooks, that they're there. And they cook in batches for 10 or 20 people, so that it's ready. Somebody comes, you give it, and then immediately some more is prepared. And in that way, anybody who comes will automatically receive prasadam. And he said, if nobody comes, you can either sell it or you can distribute it to the local devotees. So he described that in Lord Jagannath's temple, on the altar, there are two men sitting up on the altar, the pujaris, and they just sit there, and they're sitting here, and anyone comes to make, they offer something, so the deity, they take it, and then they give tulsi and charnamrita back to the person. Maybe the person brought some boga or some garlands or some other kind of gift, but they'll get some tulsi and charnamrita. And so Prabhupada said, and they're very busy, means a lot of people are coming and making offerings. And then when the boga offering occurs, everybody goes out. They're not allowed in during the boga offering. And the doors close, they clean the floor, and then all the boga is brought in, and it's placed in these special pots. I don't have time probably to go into this, but there's a whole description of the pots that are used for Lord Jagannath offering. And the pots are also the same containers that the offering is cooked in. And they're specially made clay pots. And there's a huge amount of people, 300 and some odd people that make these pots, these clay pots. It means they're used once, they're cooked on, and then offered, and then they're discarded. And there's different sizes of pots, very, very big ones, and each one has a specific size, a specific shape, and is used for specific aspects of the offering. So they bring in the pots and the trays of food. They're placed on the floor, and the offering goes on. And he mentions that this goes on 56 times a day, and they don't purchase any ingredients from the market. They have their own agricultural fields and big management. So, all the spices, they're also grown. And then if they want them powdered, they powder themselves. And they're very also strict in terms of what they do offer, what they don't offer to Lord Jagannath. I won't get into that right now, but suffice to say, he doesn't eat pizza and puri. And then he was explaining that the floor of the Jagannath temple is made of stone, and the room is dark behind Lord Jagannath. If you've seen pictures, you see it's kind of darkish. And he said that there's no electricity, just two lamps, like oil lamps or dew lamps for the illumination. So, and then, of course, we're talking all about prasadam, and today's a fast day, but I'm hoping that you'll feel satisfaction by hearing about prasadam and not become disturbed that, oh my God, I can't eat. But you'll feel the bliss of hearing about prasadam. So in a lecture in Calcutta, he also said that our temples everywhere, we're feeding so many, he said, so many daridras, so many poor people. But he defined poor people as everyone is poor, not just the traditionally poor guy, but everyone is poor. They're poor because they're suffering from lack of Krishna consciousness. So, we're not feeding only one type of person, but all persons, Hindus, Muslims, anyone can take prasad. And this is he quotes a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, and that for one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence no longer exist. So then the devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is first offered for sacrifice. So Prabhupada said, this is not feeding the poor, meaning poor in the traditional sense. It is distributing the results of yajna. The worship is yajna. If you feed people, not the so-called poor, but everyone, then they'll be freed from their sinful activities. Therefore, we want prasadam distribution because everyone is engaged in sinful activities. They are eating everything, doing everything, and their lives are full of sinful activities. Therefore, to deliver them, this prasad distribution is required. Now, if we're thinking, Srila Prabhupada, we're thinking in these terms of delivering the fallen souls, the suffering souls through prasadam, what to speak of his followers, all of us. So, initially in the former days of Iskcon, there was very strict adherence to only honoring Krishna prasad. And then somehow or other, we became more advanced and we thought we could eat other things cooked outside, grains cooked by armies. Then we justify it, well, it's organic. Organic or not, if it's not prepared for and offered to Krishna, then it's not prasadam. Then we understand from Bhagavad Gita that that's not yoga, that's eating sin. A lot of times devotees maybe don't want to hear this, oh, that's so, old school. But consider how your chanting is going. Consider your eagerness to hear Krishna Katha. And one of the impediments, aside from the 10 offenses, is there's things that impact, that create, help, that facilitate these offenses. And one of the things is eating karmic grains. Even saying the word karmic nowadays is not considered like politically correct, we don't want anyone to feel bad, but what is karma? It means a fruit of worker. We shouldn't be afraid to speak truthfully, particularly among ourselves. So karmic grains, where do we get? They're working fruitively, they're not thinking of serving Krishna, they're thinking of serving mind, belly, senses, genitals, etc. This is what it means. And so their cooking will also contain their mentality. So that is the danger, even though it may be externally so wonderfully prepared and looks so nice, we're just like Krishna is accepting our intention, the love, the devotion, we are also accepting what's coming with the hands of non-devotees if we eat these foodstuffs. So we need to protect our spiritual lives, and this is one way. And of course, nowadays I recognize sometimes when we're traveling, particularly when you're traveling, you try to bring with you what you can, but sometimes you're not even allowed to bring, like in America, you can't bring fresh fruit into America. So, of course, eat it before you get here. Sometimes they check you going out of countries, what are you bringing out? Like I was in Puerto Rico recently, and make sure you don't bring anything out, so you have to go through a special agricultural scan. So maybe you're in a situation where you need to, out of need, you may have to take something to eat, and the only thing is going to be something cooked by non-devotees. So, I call that fuel food. The body needs some fuel, so maybe you have to take something. So minimize what you take and try to rectify it as soon as possible with Krishna Prasadam. So there is one story that is from the Janini Mahabharata, and it was following the Rajasuya sacrifice by Yudhishthira Maharaj. And of course, what you do after a sacrifice is that you distribute gifts to the Brahmins and the Vaishnavas. So he was concerned, he was always concerned how he was performing his activities. So he asked Lord Krishna, who was his dear friend. Imagine having Krishna as your friend and you could check in with him for details like this. So he asked Krishna, how will I know the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas are satisfied by his service? And Lord Krishna put his conch shell, remember the name of Lord Krishna's conch shell, anybody? Yeah, so he put the Panihati down in one place, and he said, if all the guests become happy after honoring prasad, then this Panihati will automatically blow, and then you'll know they're happy. So he did that, fed the guests with great care, served them with great care, and nothing happened. So, we could say, well, what do you expect? You got to blow, But Yudhishthira had great faith in his friend Krishna. And Krishna said that if the conch didn't blow on its own, then there was some defect. So he asked Krishna's help, and Krishna said, well, there's a very humble devotee named Sopacha Valmika. So Sopacha, I think, is like a indication of low-born, low caste. Valmika was his name. And he was staying just outside the city gates, and he was considered an untouchable person. So he said that, he wasn't not properly treated at the Rajasuya Yajna. He said, bring him, and he should bring him to the palace and make various prasad preparations for him. So Bhima and Arjuna were sent to search for that devotee. And they found him in a forest, and they, please come tomorrow to the palace for prasad. He said, why are you asking me, Because Lord Krishna is, he has given us his instruction. And then he goes, well, why did he send you? You're such exalted souls, Bhima and Arjuna. Why are you coming? You could have just sent somebody, one of your assistants. And, but, you're the king's brothers. He said, no, he had to come personally. And then this Brahmin, so he wanted a Brahmin, this Sopacha Valmika, he worshipped the two brothers with folded palms. And the next day he came, unreluctant. You can imagine, it's like if you get invited to some big situation, you're not properly dressed and all that, and you might feel a little intimidated. So he comes and feeling very fearful a little. And he arrives at the palace, and all the royal members are there. They're offering pranams. Lord Yudhishthira greeted him. He wanted to wash up his feet. And, that was like no, I'm not worthy of that. And he went to Lord Krishna, and he got offering obeisances again and again and again. And then Krishna requested Yudhishthira to worship his feet. So he had to accept. Then they offered him a sitting place. They brought all this wonderful prasadam, and it had been cooked by Draupadi personally. To everyone's surprise, he took all the prasadam and he threw it all together. The sweet, the sour, the pungent, all of it. He mixed it all together. And he began to honor it. And when Draupadi, who had been cooking, saw this, Sukdev, I'm trying to get through Nirjal, so I'm coughing. You're a cook. Anybody here a cook? So if you spend the entire day making an elaborate prasad and you see somebody just, I get upset. I'm not even the cook. And I see devotees serving prasad, without even, they're throwing it on the plates and they're putting the chutney in with the sweet rice. They just mindlessly throw, So they're, feeling, what happened? And Draupadi, she was not happy. She spent the entire day preparing prasadam. And she was thinking, he really is a swapacha, which means outcast, in her mind. So he finished eating. Maharaj Yudhishthira gave him ample donations and respectful farewell. But after his departure, Pankajanya did not blow. So Yudhishthira, what happened? Krishna replied, someone had made an offense to the swapacha. Everybody was quiet. The five brothers said, we didn't commit any offenses. But Draupadi was silent. Finally she said, with great labor I cooked for him, but that Sopacha did not appreciate my cooking. He mixed everything together and ate it. Therefore, in my mind, I may have made some offense. So Krishna said, call him again and ask him why he did like that, why he didn't eat everything separately like us. So they called for him, and Yudhishthira asked, why did you mix all the prasad together and eat it? Is there any purport to your behavior? So, very, very instructive answer. With folded hands, the Sopacha told him, prasad means the mercy of the Lord. It has already been enjoyed by the Lord. He is the enjoyer, not I. I am his servant. I have to honor its remnants with respect and be careful not to commit any offense. I should not enjoy, here's the part we should be aware of, I should not enjoy his remnants with feelings of like and dislike. If I don't like the chutney, I won't eat it. Whereas if I like the sweet rice very much, I will eat a lot of it. Please tell me, have I made any mistake? This devotional reply opened the eyes of the Pandavas. Yudhishthira Maharaj, along with Draupadi, begged forgiveness for their offenses. And right after that, the conch began to blow very loudly, confirming that king's sacrifice was now a complete success. But at one point, I thought Sister Shruti Rupa was Srila Prabhupada's cook. I have been Srila Prabhupada's cook on many occasions, so I can attest to what happens. Usually, in my case, the plate wouldn't even get out the door. They would just, the devotees would come and grab it. But she would take the plate out, the Mahaprasad, would take it out, and devotees would like pick and choose. And she always felt a little funny about that, but she didn't know, what to think. And so she actually asked Srila Prabhupada. And he said, that is not proper respect. It's not proper behavior. And what did he tell her to do? He said, put it in one bowl and mix it together. So she did that. And then only those real devotees, by real devotees, those who understood the purport of honoring Mahaprasad, Prasad Seva were taking with great satisfaction. And for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta's disappearance day, beautiful offerings every year. I'm always there because his appearance day. I'm always there because it's the GBC meeting times, the fourth day of the meeting. So beautiful, beautiful prasad is prepared for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta on banana leaves and clay pots and vessels. It's brought out. His beautiful murti is there. The offering is made, and they cover it with some cloths, and we do pushpanjali, so we keep the flowers out. So then after they remove the cloth, they come with this big, huge pot, and he's throwing everything in it, and then stirring it up. And anybody was looking, I wonder if I'll get one of those, when I get one, yes, you will, but it's going to be like that, So that, I think I can't totally remember, but I think it was an instruction from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. If anybody remembers from reading the big autobiography, you can tell. But the purport is, we should be careful to respect prasadam. And when we're serving it, we should serve it respectfully. That even Srila Prabhupada instructed. He also gave a very nice instruction one time. It was instructive, put it that way. Janaki had prepared prasadam for him, and in a little kind of whimsical thing, she took some little, small little miniature umbrellas, the kind you usually see in a barge, a little barge. I've seen them in pictures. They put them on a drink, stick them in a cherry and stick it in, so there's this little tiny umbrella. And she put them all over the plate, and she brought that plate in to Srila Prabhupada. And he looks, he goes, yes. He said, Radharani also pleased Krishna very much by preparing prasad nicely and offering it nicely on the plate. So he appreciated that the endeavor to make it attractive was there. And he said, and in that way Krishna was immediately satisfied simply by glancing. Just seeing, you know, if you see some nice prasad, automatically you're like, you get sometimes even salivation, you know, but you want to taste it, you know. So, which is why we keep the vogue offering out of view, because we shouldn't be salivating. Once it's prasadam, then you can, you know, you should hanker for it. You should desire to taste it naturally. So, I'll just read the verse one more time. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes, and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. Krishna Prasadam Ki Jai. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Nirjal Krishna Ki Jai. If anybody is pregnant, of course you shouldn't attempt this, or if somebody is not sick, you know, not well, you're not feeling well, so don't attempt it. But if you're young and healthy, or old and healthy, as far as possible, you know, to try to follow the yoga. If you can't fully follow, of course, then take a little water. If that's not to say you, so this is the line that Prabhupada gave us on the first fast that we observed, which was Lord Chaitanya's appearance day fast in 1967. So then, okay, take a little water, or you can take a little fruit juice. He told us to take sugar candy. In India they have this mystery, sugar candy. But we didn't know what exactly it meant, and we got lifesavers because he said sugar water, sugar candy. The lifesaver, the ingredients are sugar and water. These are those 5 flavors, lifesaver packs. So we would take those, and when we feel ourselves getting a little weak, we'd suck on a lifesaver. It was our misinterpretation at the time. But anyways, you know, you can do, or if you just otherwise follow normal Ekadashi Vrat, no grates, nothing is hard, no harm. Srila Prabhupada did not push us at all on this nirjal. It was, he emphasized Ekadashi, that was what we followed. So if we can do it, wonderful, and if you cannot, you shouldn't feel guilty, yes, but you should at least follow Ekadashi. Hare Krishna.
Maloti Mataji ki